Hey everyone, welcome to my new channel, Reality Report with Ryan. For those that already know me, welcome. For those of you that don't, what you can expect is political news, both the US and some abroad. You can also expect commentary on how the woke mind virus is destroying the mental health of a certain group of people. I think we all know what I'm talking about. I also react to crazy lefty TikToks sometimes, and I also react to interview on the street where people are interviewing crazy lefties and just going over the crazy things that they think about and say. So if you're not already, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and lose your mind with the rest of us. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the middle of the week. I have a few different stories here that I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about the theories going around about cloud seeding causing the flooding in Texas. I know it's a very attractive theory, but there's some things that I think we need to know about cloud seeding and the probability of that being the cause. So I want to look at a couple of maps and some cloud seeding information first. I'm also going to give my thought on the Epstein file nonsense, debacle, conspiracy, lies. And I want to also talk about the judge, Judge Dugan, the one we know who Judge Dugan is, the one who let the illegal immigrant out of her courtroom to evade ICE only to run down the street and put people's lives in danger because ICE had to chase after him to capture him. Yeah, there's another development in the case that I think is interesting, and some people didn't expect it, but I am glad that it happened. So let's get into it. All right. Well, those of you that know me at this point know that I do not, this is what I meant by I'm not biased. I am not just going to go with what every other right leaning person says online. I'm not going to do it. Everyone is talking about cloud seeding, and yes, the CEO of Rainmaker did come out and admitted that we can modify the weather, which I think should be common knowledge at this point, even though some people deny that that's what's happening. But it clearly is. You can just do a 5-second internet search and find out that cloud seeding is at least a real thing. Chemtrails is still in question, but we'll find out soon, hopefully, if we can still trust this administration, which I'll get into a little bit later. However, I just feel like all of these people making these YouTube videos and everything are just, they're looking for some type of, I don't know. I don't even know what it is. And I don't know why people buy into all of this stuff. And I don't know why people don't necessarily look into it. And while it can be said that maybe there's information that's being kept from us, we have full admittance of what cloud seeding is. We know what it is. Silver iodide or and potassium iodide dropped into a storm system to basically make it release the precipitation faster and potentially create more precipitation to be released faster than it would normally release it. And the Rainmaker CEO, the Rainmaker company, admitted that they did cloud seeding in Texas on July 2nd. Now, everyone's going around and saying, oh my God, cloud seeding was done on July 2nd. It had to have been the reason for this torrential downpour. It had to have been the reason for these deadly floods in Texas. But if you actually look at how cloud seeding works and how fast it works, you will understand. And also, if you watch how storm systems move and how fast they move, it doesn't make sense. That theory does not hold water. And I did not mean to make that correlation, but it happened. So let's look at a couple of maps real quick, and then I'm going to look at some information about cloud seeding itself, and then we'll get into the next topic, which really pissed me off. So here's a map of Texas. All right. This is the map of all of the areas in Texas. These freaking ads out of here. This is a map of all the areas in Texas that do cloud seeding. And the reason why they're doing it is because there's a lot of areas in Texas that are drought ridden. And so they use cloud seeding to cause more precipitation in those areas to water the farms and things like that. So it's used in all of these areas. And if you look at where Kerrville is, it's right here, right above San Antonio. So if we go back over here, you can see immediately, like right in here, you can see immediately that immediately, if you're a conspiracy theorist or you're like just on the clickbait bandwagon and you're just like you don't care whether you're telling the truth or not, or whether what you're saying is logical or not, then you're going to run with this. You're going to say, "Oh, there's my story. There's my story right there." And sometimes I have those moments, but then I'm like, you're not those people. Let's look into this a little bit further, which I did. So you can see how people automatically say like, oh, they were doing cloud seeding in this area on July the 2nd. Yes. Have we ever watched a storm radar? Have we ever seen how fast these storms actually move? There's absolutely no way that they seeded the storm system on July 2nd and the storm system is still in Texas on July 4th, even at 4 o'clock in the morning when the flooding started. Like, there's no way that happened. Now, could there have possibly be things that they're not telling us? Maybe. Could there be an actual conspiracy? Maybe. But we can leave those as theories. We don't have to say that those are like really strong theories either, because with the information that we actually have, cloud seeding was done in some of these areas, or at least one of these areas on the 2nd. The information that we have does not say that this was caused by cloud seeding. Not only that, but the cloud seeding also doesn't necessarily create a massive influx of precipitation. It doesn't increase precipitation. It causes the clouds to release the precipitation. So what they're trying to do is, where some rain clouds may not actually have rained over these areas, they're trying to make them rain over these areas. Make it rain over Texas, but not like it happened the other day. So I looked at all of that and I looked this up because at first I was like, oh my gosh, man, maybe this was actually caused by cloud seeding. So then I looked up, is it possible for the effects of cloud seeding to remain in the clouds for over 24 hours before the cloud releases precipitation? And I didn't mention Texas because I didn't want it to pull any left-wing news articles into its results. It says it's very unlikely that the effects of cloud seeding would remain in the clouds for over 24 hours before resulting in precipitation. Here's a breakdown of why. Time frame of cloud seeding effects. Cloud seeding typically begins to show results within 30 minutes to a few hours. 30 minutes to a few hours, it will start to show its effects if it's going to work. It doesn't always work. After the materials like silver iodide or salt particles, or potassium iodide as well, are released into the clouds. The process works by accelerating natural precipitation, not delaying it, encouraging water droplets to coalesce and fall sooner than they would have otherwise, like I said. In most operational programs, if seeding doesn't produce results within a few hours, it's considered ineffective for that cloud system. Why 24 plus hours is improbable. Clouds are dynamic and rarely persist in the same form or location over 24 hours. And if it's a storm cloud, storm systems, I watch them all the time. I love storms. If any of you out there love storms that are not lethal, leave a comment below. I love storms, so I track them because so often we get these reports that there's going to be a big thunderstorm and then nothing happens. So I always look and see, like, is this actually going to hit this area or not? And they move very fast. They move over. entire states within hours. Okay, so it's like this isn't even really a legitimate theory. So seeded clouds are often part of a moving system like a front or a storm, with changes significantly over time due to atmospheric dynamics. The seeding agents may remain in the atmosphere longer, but their ability to influence precipitation is short lived. They need active, moist clouds to work. Which you could say, like, they were active, moist clouds, of course, but had they been seeded on the second, they would not be in Texas still. Studies and field experiments like those from the National Center for Atmospheric Research and the World Meteorological Organization show that. So we have research for this. So if anyone ever tells you that cloud seeding isn't real, you can reference research, which you can easily find online. Successful seeding typically results in rain or snow within a half an hour to 4 hours. No credible peer-reviewed evidence shows the seeding delays precipitation or causes it more than a day later. In summary, I don't need to read the summary. But so now we can see. So we can see this is highly unlikely that this was caused by cloud seeding, and more likely caused by the tropical storm that came through the area. So like I think we can lay down the theory, the conspiracy theory that this was caused on purpose, or that it was caused by maybe accidentally by a cloud seeding procedure taking place in another part of Texas, because the storms don't typically go down. So even if they did like cloud seeding in Colorado or something, the storm didn't go down. It came over and up, over and up. So I can confidently say this was not caused by cloud seeding. So all of these psycho freaking clickbait people that are just lying to you to make money, like, I don't even know why millions of people watch them. They lie to you every single day. All right. They lie to you every day. They agree with everything that Trump says. I like Trump. I like Uncle Trump. But I don't agree with everything that anyone says. That's just ridiculous. That's a red flag. That's a serious red flag. All right. So if you're one of those people, take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, why am I a big red flag? Because that's not okay. All right. So I think we can put that theory to rest, and we're done with that. The next thing I want to talk about, as I mentioned, I don't always agree with Donald Trump, and he done pissed me off. He done pissed me off, y'all. Epstein files. I don't talk about the Epstein file. There's certain things that I just don't talk about that often because I don't know a shitload about them, but I think I know enough about this to have an opinion on it at this point. Trump ran on releasing the Epstein files ever since 2015 when he announced his run. 2014 or 15, whenever he announced his run. And nothing happened during the first 4 years. Obviously, nothing was going to happen by any of the Democrats because it's probably mostly them that are involved. And now he ran during his campaign on releasing the Epstein files again. And they've been talking about it all year. We're going to release the Epstein files. Pam Bondi on there talking about they're going through this massive amount of footage, and there's children and they're being abused, and it's horrifying, and it really weighs on the mind and all this. Okay, she never once said that it was only images and videos of Epstein and like Epstein, and then I don't know, like other random videos and images of children being hurt. She didn't specifically say that. So that would lead us all to believe that there were actually videos of people, like high profile people, being incriminated in those. And that's why it was being covered up and hidden. Not to mention, Ghislaine, or however you say her name, has been in prison for years. Epstein was arrested and put in prison. Ghislaine is still in prison. So if there are no Epstein files, why is Ghislaine still in prison? Who was she trafficking children to? How was Ghislaine trafficking children only to Epstein, and then this big case involving people all over the world gets opened, seemingly? And there's all this talk about these files, these flight logs, Epstein Island, all these people that were incriminated. But now there's all of a sudden no evidence of that. Why did Epstein unalive himself? If he wasn't guilty, of course, I guess it could just be because of the images and videos of him. But then the question still comes back to, why is Ghislaine in jail? If she didn't traffic anyone, if there's no trafficking being involved, why is she still in jail? Did she only traffic people to Epstein? And if that's the case, how did all these other people know about it? How did Donald Trump sniff it out in the early 2000s? Why would that happen? I am very suspicious about this case and about the Diddy case, because we are being lied to when it comes to this. I will conspiratize this because I think we have plenty of evidence and knowledge and past conversation and announcements and talk that we can 100% I think we can make an educated hypothesis that there are more people, high profile people involved in this case, and they just don't want to tell us. And this little clip yesterday of Donald Trump responding to a reporter asking this question really pissed me off. It really pissed me off.
Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the death?
Yeah, sure. If I
Could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have...
Just had to bring myself on screen real quick because I got shit to say. Are we still talking about Epstein? Yeah, the fuck we are. Yeah, we are fucking talking about Epstein still, Donald Trump. What the fuck kind of question is that? You're at an entire freaking meeting here. This is not just about Texas. And the press is wanting to ask you questions about recent events. One of those recent events is Pam Bondi coming out and saying there are no Epstein files. Yeah, this is a relevant question because America wanted to know. This is one of the minuscule things that we voted for was to release the truth about all of this. And just because, and I've watched several interviews with people that have ideas about why this is all being covered up, that Wall Street would crash, you arrest all these people, like the worldwide economy would completely crash and go to shit, which if that's true, okay, but at the same time, like, when does justice prevail? When does justice prevail? They are covering this up. They're covering it up. And now Trump's acting like all of a sudden, why is everybody talking about the Epstein files still? You're still talking about the Epstein files? Yeah, because, yeah, and you were too until about a month ago. So what the fuck? What the actual fuck? I still like Donald Trump, and I hope that there is some type of a reason for this that is a good reason, and that eventually this will actually come out, but it doesn't really look like it. So I can only hope. But they are covering this up. Now, I do want to hear what Pam Bondi had to say. Let's just listen.
We have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
And let me just mention one more thing, because the people that they were trafficking children to, that were abusing these children, these people are still out there abusing children. Like, yeah, we're still talking about it because there's still children being trafficked to perverts like Epstein. Like, and it's through the same networks. It has to be. Like, you're not going to tell me that this is not still happening through the exact same network. And now you're saying, let's drop it and not try to figure this out and stop this from happening. That's fucked up.
That is unbelievable.
No, it's
Do you want
not.
to waste the time, and do you feel like
It's not a waste of time to save children from being
I can't believe
trafficked.
You're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration. But you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that,
He should not have said that.
In February, I did an interview on Fox.
Trump should not have said any of that. He should have just let Pam speak. He should not have commented on this at all. This is why sometimes somebody needs to stop him from speaking, because he just lost so many of his followers and supporters. And some of these people are going to be people that flipped to the right and voted for him and would have never voted for him otherwise. And then when the elections come up next year, they're going to vote for fucking Democrats because he just said this. He should not have said that. What in the world? This is going to probably be the maddest that you're ever going to see me be a Donald Trump. So if you know what, if you don't like people criticizing Donald Trump, you got your own red flags. You got your own shit. That's a you problem. So I really don't give a fuck. You cannot trust everything that that anyone says. You can't. And you cannot be fully in support of everything that someone does. That's just a huge red flag. That is a personality problem. Like, don't do it. This is so ridiculous. He probably lost millions of followers over this. How could you say that? How could you say that? We have so much winning going on, and now we have a tragedy. So we're going to close the case on all of these children being trafficked. And I told you that it doesn't exist. So you should just believe that. No, we're not. We're not. Trump, have you met your supporters? Because most of us ask questions. Yeah, we're not like the left where we just follow blindly everything that you say. Most of us ask questions. And this is a huge question.
And it's been getting a lot of attention because I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively.
Even if it was just the videos that she is describing, and not just, because that's horrifying and disgusting, are you gonna try and figure out where those videos came from? Are you gonna try and figure out who else was there watching them with him? Let's just assume that what she's saying is true, and I don't believe that what she's saying is true. Are you gonna find the other people that were involved? How do you know that they didn't traffic these children? Like, how do you know that? We need details. We need actual details. We need to be released documents. Not that I even trust these people at all. Like, I don't trust anyone. I can't trust anyone.
The video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
And that's it on Epstein. Don't ever ask any questions ever again about Epstein. They're basically saying, like, we're done with Epstein. That's it. We didn't find any other culprits. We didn't find any evidence of human trafficking. Even though this entire thing was about human trafficking, you can see pictures of little girls in tutus at his place, like being weird with older men. You can see footage of what's his name? I forget his name. He was a famous scientist. You guys probably know. He was a paraplegic. There's pictures of him with little children. Like, you guys, how they think that we are so stupid, both on the left and the right. They think that we are so stupid that we would see pictures of these little girls who nobody knows who, are they anyone's children that were there? It sure didn't look like it. And that they're going to just say, oh, there's no evidence of any of that. There's no evidence of any trafficking. We're not going to look into where these pictures of kids came from. We're not going to look into who else was involved, either watching it, participating in it, or selling it. Like, y'all, leave me a comment and tell me if you're with me on this or if you're fine with not having any further information about Epstein. Do you believe them? Look, I'm doing my Trump hands. Do you believe them? I don't. So in other news, y'all remember Hannah Dugan, and if you don't know who Hannah Dugan is, she's a judge, and she was in a trial for an illegal immigrant who was accused of beating up his roommate and his girlfriend. It was either his girlfriend or I think it was his girlfriend. But there was a woman there and a man. They were all living together, and he beat the other two up over something stupid. And so he was there for his sentencing, and ICE came and they were going to deport him because they had deportation orders, as they do. And Hannah Dugan came out and asked the ICE officers to go down the hall to speak to her supervisor, the judge who's in charge. And while they went down the hall, she took the defendant out the side room and directed him to leave the building, which he did, and he could be seen in footage leaving the building and proceeding to jog down the street, and right next to traffic. So ICE, once they figured out, luckily there was someone paying attention, and he was dressed in civilian clothes. He followed the guy, and then they ended up having to run down the street and arrest him, and they got him. But while a judge has immunity, I've been listening to a lot of lawyers talk about this. A judge has immunity for official acts, and her letting him evade ICE has nothing to do with the domestic violence case that she was hearing at that moment. So it seems to me, from everything that I've listened to from these lawyers, is that you can't combine those and make them an official act. She broke the law, but she was hearing a case which was her official act. Then she went away from hearing the case and broke the law by helping somebody evade ICE. So I'll bring up the news article. So here we go. A federal magistrate judge said Monday that the Justice Department's criminal case against Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan should move forward and recommended that her bid to dismiss the indictment be denied. Dugan was arrested in April and charged with 2 federal counts after she was accused of helping a man who blah, blah, blah. I already explained that. I won't bore you with me explaining that again. Dugan has argued that the case against her should be dismissed on the grounds that she was acting within the scope of her official duties as a state court judge and is therefore entitled to... No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because that was not an official duty. Of course she has to argue against this. Of course she has to. I don't know of any criminals that really go into the courtroom and say, yep, I'm guilty. Take me, put me in jail. I don't know how many years this would potentially put her in jail if she gets any jail time. It can be very dangerous in jail for a judge. That I will give you that. I will give you that. She said that the federal prosecution violates Wisconsin's sovereignty by interfering with the duties of an elected state judge and disrupting active proceedings. No, they were waiting in the hallway for the proceeding to end so that they could enforce the federal immigration law and their deportation orders that they had on him and deport him. They had nothing to do with your official duties. It had nothing to do with the case that you were hearing. In a filing seeking to dismiss the indictment, Dugan's lawyers called the government's prosecution virtually unprecedented and entirely unconstitutional. See, here's the thing about these, and I'm gonna cut this short because it's already 30 minutes. Here's the thing. All these people talk about how nobody's above the law until it comes to Democrats or something that the Democrats support. And then because previous administrations did not do things like this, they did not enforce the law when it came to people like this. Now it's happening, which is legal, that is constitutional. If you break the law outside of your official duties, you are not entitled to immunity. Like, you can't just go and stab somebody in your courtroom and not you can just say, oh, I'm immune. They were a danger to society, so this is their sentence. There it is. We're done. That's illegal. You can't do that. Just like you cannot help an illegal immigrant evade ICE because you are hearing their case. The case ends and then they go with ICE. That's how it should have happened. That's not how it happened. And obviously, all the Democrats and all these people just continue to prove that they don't care about the law or the Constitution. They do not care about it. They don't even understand it. There's people in Congress that don't understand the Constitution, like almost all the Democrats. And then there's ones that do, but they only seem to understand it when it benefits them. So it's just kind of crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on. Trump done pissed me off, y'all. I don't think any of you have ever seen me this pissed off at Trump, but he done pissed me off. I hope y'all are pissed off about this too. I mean, you could still support him and want him to be the president and understand that he was the best man for this job still, but what the fuck? Trump, get it together. So tell me, what do you guys think about the cloud seeding thing? What do you think about those theories? What do you think about Trump? Are you pissed off? Are you okay with it? Are you indifferent? And what do y'all think about Judge Hannah Dugan? Are you glad that her request was denied? I know I am. She needs to be prosecuted for the criminal act that she did. She did it. It happened. It's all on camera. We know what you did. She knows what she did. She knows it's not legal. She has to. Oh my goodness. Between her and Ketanji Brown Jackson, I just can't. So tell me, what do you guys think in the comments below? Make sure to subscribe if you're not already. And make sure to hit the like button, share it with your family and friends, help the channel grow fast, and I will see you on the next one.